Hello, hello, hello. A little inspiration from some online lectures I've been watching lately. Mm. So let's get back at this. So the other day I posted a video about comparing the Oxford Electric Bell from 1840 to the Benjamin Franklin's bell, and basically postulating that it's receiving outside power from electrostatic interference. Um, and that it's basically charging the dry piles in some way, allowing the oscillation to continue between the small brass ball and the two bells within the glass container. And part of that demonstration was showing that, like with an electrostatic field, you basically can cause a bell to be rung in the exact same way with just electrostatics. So, and this can be oscillated back and forth with a single charge. I'm doing this back and forth. It just depends on the timing of it's being delivered. At the same time, by setting up a glass barrier, ground those, is that this will not stop that charge from that happening. It will continue to do this. It doesn't matter. But I postulated that if a Faraday cage was placed, this is a aluminum mesh. That with this aluminum mesh, if I place this between the balloon and the cans, that no such electrostatic can be inducted in the cans. So you even hear the spark if you listen closely. Part of this is that there's electric charges coming from my body. It's going to the balloon, but then it's being regrounded back into me. So what we're having here is this equilibrium of charge. And even if there's a way I can set this up without it falling. See if I can do it like this. Hopefully the top they can. This gets attracted. This will not. You can't get an electrostatic charge through a Faraday cage. Is basically the principle. And that's basically what's going on. But at the same time, though, I saw another observation. I saw someone make their own version of the electric bell. What's interesting is they didn't follow the same steps but got the same results. And what I'm referring to is what they insulated the dry piles with. The dry piles are insulated in the Oxford Electric Bell by sulfur. And sulfur in the triboelectric series or triboelectric series is very negatively charged. It wants to be negatively charged. It is an electrostatic. There's something with certain substances that want to have a certain charge, that want to be able to, when they come in contact with each other in some way, the molecules or in the air, if anything's floating in space and molecules interact, they will deliver a charge if available from one substance to another based on what you see in the triboelectric series. And so in the Oxford Electric Bell, it has its dry piles insulated by sulfur, which is very negative on the triboelectric series. And the reproduction that I found, they used Teflon, which is also very negative on the triboelectric series. And this comes back to the whole thing. If you have a barrier like glass, but then you have something that's going on in the internal structure that's very sensitive to electrostatic influences, such as, let's say, the positive ions that are in the air that collect as dust on glass and will carry a negative charge. If there are positive charge, that positive charge and the negative charge within the glass will try to interact with each other. And I think that interaction is causing a slow charge to build up in whatever dry piles they may have in there. Now, if the dry piles are using a chemical reaction, those should not last as long as they have without some sort of erosion that should have broken their connection some time ago. So the conclusion is that regardless of what kind of pile they may be using on the inside, if there is a pile at all, that the likely culprit for this whole interaction is the type of electrostatic material you're using. So in this case, the Teflon or the sulfur, which is a key ingredient. I wonder if it would even work without those. But regardless of how I think the internal workings of the bell interact, the conclusion is still the same, is that it's receiving outside power through electrostatic interference. And by with that, just kind of showcasing here is that even with this small Faraday cage, you can block that off. So making a mesh screen that they can place on the entire structure of it should block electrostatic interference, and see if it stops. And if it does stop, when you take it off, it should start back up again. And it just give it a little bit of time to build up static charge. So that's the idea, and it shouldn't interfere with the experiment. If the experiment is self-contained battery, that it can claim the longest lasting battery in the Guinness Book of World Records, then let it stand for itself in that. But if it's receiving outside force, then it's not what it's presented as. If it's receiving outside force, it's a novelty meant to fool people not familiar with the different physical forces that are interacting with the bell or with the ball that's in the middle. So it's kind of like the question is, do you pursue that? Do you allow a small experiment that doesn't interfere with the principles of the experiment of not being touched? It goes on the outside, shouldn't touch the glass whatsoever, just to prove if it doesn't have an influence. So if it has an influence, then there you go. So it's basically getting a slow charge from electrostatic interference. But that's for your consideration. What is this? This videos, I uploaded 2 videos 2 days in a row. What is this? I don't know. I'll probably do more videos. There's a lot more stuff that I've been researching because from my perspective, I am more of I'm an analyst of people. Like from my older videos of analyzing the original intent of Star Wars to analyzing things that have happened in the past, analyzing science. This is all about how people understand the world from that's the perspective that I take, is trying to figure out our role in this world, whether it be physical sciences, it be the arts, or whatever it may be. I'm actually going back to school soon for behavioral science with an emphasis in anthropology. And it's my intent that I want to use that degree to help me get into a role where I can bridge the gap between modern technology and the older ways of mankind. And if that means reverse engineering what people have done before and trying to understand what people have done. I think it's an entirely interesting field because I don't think many people are doing it. I don't think there's a lot of people that try to incorporate multiple disciplines in order to understand something, whether it be history, science, or just human behavior in general through time. Anyway, I appreciate your views, your comments, and I hope to see you next time.